Top of the morning, everyone. I am Samuel Johnson, and welcome back to the Ben 10 Retrospectives. And today, we're going to be talking about episode 7 of the original Ben 10 series, Kevin 11. And really, this is actually one of my favorite episodes of the entire series. Not just for the introduction of Kevin, but also for being the first episode to actually feature the first dark doppelganger that this series has had. So, yeah, pretty much in this episode, Ben, Gwen, and Max during their trip go to New York, and they're planning on staying at a 4-star hotel. But while there, Ben sees the hotel is hosting this event for the next game in a franchise that Ben likes called Sumo Slammers. Ben wants to go in, but it's VIPs only. So, against his grandfather's wishes, Ben sneaks in as Ghost Freak, and he gets caught. And as a result, Ben, Gwen, and Max are kicked out of the hotel. Max is certifiably peeved because they not only got kicked out of a hotel that Max already paid for, but Ben deliberately disobeyed him and misused his powers. And so he punishes Ben by taking away many of the things he likes for the next 2 weeks. Ben, being a kid, can't just really see anything beyond I wanted something, and so I couldn't, and so I decided to just take it. And so he and Max get into an argument. After Max leaves to try and get some of his money back from the hotel, Ben, to just spite him, leaves the hotel and wanders to an arcade nearby. And while he's there, he meets a kid named Kevin, who has the ability to absorb and manipulate energy. He and Ben kick it off because Ben likes his attitude of because I have this power, I can just do whatever the heck I want, no responsibilities or whatsoever. And so Ben winds up so he follows Kevin back to his home, which is just kind of this abandoned part of a subway because Kevin apparently is a self-made orphan because his parents apparently left when he was younger. And so Ben shares with him what he did, about the experience of the hotel, though he omits the fact about the aliens. So Kevin, as a personal thanks, they break into a warehouse that seems to have gotten a few copies of this game. They try and takes a few, but they wind up setting off an alarm that gets a SWAT team there. I have absolutely no idea. Maybe the warehouse also was storing weapons, but Ben shows off his powers to Kevin and to help them escape, and so Kevin sees this, thinks it's cool, and so he tells Ben that they should be partners, which Ben at first agrees to until they try and pull off their first job, where Kevin tries to get a passenger train and a money train to crash into each other so that he can get all the residual money, despite the fact that several people will die. Ben calls Kevin out on this. Kevin doesn't care, so Ben and Kevin wind up fighting. With Ben going heat blast in the battle, and in the fight, Kevin absorbs energy from Ben and winds up part of him takes on the appearance of heat blast. So while Ben is able to stop the trains from crashing into each other, but Kevin is still in the loose. And so when after Max and Gwen catch up with Ben tells them what happened, and so they realize they have to stop Kevin from hurting any more people, because with this power he's just going after people that have wronged him in New York, like specifically like a gang that he had an experience with earlier in the episode. So honestly, I think what helps make this episode work is, first off, just the idea of addressing Ben's callousness. Like, while they do show that Ben does care about people, otherwise he wouldn't be doing this hero thing, he does like to misuse his powers, which is something that I've stated before in these vlogs. And it's just in this, but it kind of ties into the whole growing up thing, because Ben misuses his powers yet again, and yet it has serious consequences. It's just that he can't see beyond what he wanted, and because of how steamed he is, it leads to the events of this episode happening. Because if Ben didn't get as spiteful as he did, he would not have gone to the arcade. He wouldn't have met Kevin, and pretty much the conflict of this episode, when pretty much none of the bad stuff of this episode would have happened. But I think what also is nice is that Ben actually does, to a degree, learn from this. Like, he doesn't actually stop misusing his powers, but it's at this point that at the end of the episode, after everyone thinks that Kevin's been defeated, Ben does feel sorry. He regrets what he did, and he does say to his grandfather, "I'm sorry. I should have listened to you." And while Max does accept the apology because they're family and nothing can change that, everything's not mended either. Max is still mad at Ben for not listening to him, and he still says that, despite that, even if Ben says he's sorry, he still has to earn back Max's trust, because it's because he broke it in the first place that all this happened, which I think is a nice lesson to learn for kids. I think is a nice lesson for kids to learn, that even if they can do bad things, and while things can be mended, everything won't be exactly the way it was. And in this case, Ben and his grandfather's relationship is altered a bit, and while Ben does gain his grandfather's trust back as the series in the next few episodes, it's something that I think kids really should learn, that their actions will have consequences, and not all those consequences will be good. So yeah, I think I like that, and I think another good strength is Kevin himself. Because I feel like he works I think he not only works as a character, but it's a nice I think it's a nice way of driving this lesson in, because the conflict initially started with Ben misusing his powers and doing what he wanted with them, despite everyone telling him you shouldn't do this. It's not a good idea. And Kevin pretty much does that all the time. He uses his powers for whatever he wants, and he doesn't care who gets harmed in the process, which is where Ben draws the line. So it's a nice parallel, because you can see the more of the extreme side of what Ben could be, though Ben will never reach that. But I do kind of like that, because there is enough. Initially that's what gets Ben attracts Ben to Kevin, not in that way. Though I know some people will take it that way, but it's what it initially starts their friendship, until Ben realizes, oh crap, this guy's nuts. And I actually kind of like what happens with Kevin absorbing Ben's powers, because it's like I said, it is more of the Dark Doppelganger, because the Omnitrix has an energy source, and as such, Kevin is able to utilize that, and when he absorbs the energy when Ben's transformed, it causes Kevin to transform into his own versions of Ben's aliens. It's like before, when he transformed into Heat Blast, we saw, while it wasn't a full transformation, it was still kind of unique in its own way, and I liked the design of Kevin's version of Forearms, which it was obvious that it was not complete, or he had absorbed too much, because Kevin had 6 arms rather than 4, and only 2 of them were strong, and only one side of his face and only one set of his eyes got 4. Suddenly split into 4 arms. His other two of you know what I mean. And it's really nice, because it really is a nice clash of styles and characters and just the powers. And I always like those kind of battles where the hero faces someone that's just as powerful as them, or has the exact same powers. It works like I like that, because it's pretty much a clash of equals. One side good, one side evil. Both of them have equal strength, but only one can come out on top. I just always think that those are really cool. And Kevin kind of further goes that way throughout the whole series. And it's really just nice to see it start out as just Kev, and I just kind of like it, because it is something that really does work. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering at this point, but I really do like seeing Ben clashed with his own dark doppelganger in Kevin. So I really don't know what else I can say about the episode. I think that because I think it was nice. I liked the battles between Ben and Kevin. I liked the lesson and how it ended. And what I also like is that this isn't the last time we actually see Kevin, as we all know, he becomes a main character in subsequent series. But for now, I think he does well as the troubled kid who blames the world and is just ready to hurt anyone because he thinks it's his right. So, really, I think so. Yeah, I really don't know what else to say. I think it's a very good episode, still one of my favorites, and I think that's really all I can say. So, yeah, phone. Sorry. So, I thank you all for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson, and tune in next week. We're looking at the 8th episode of the original Ben 10 series. So, yeah, again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week. Take care.